Hello, hi, my name is John Johnston. I'm the head of the Master's Artist Educator at ArtEZ, which involves two master programs: the International Master Artist Educator, which is taught in English, and the Master Politicising, which is a Dutch program. I've been asked to speak today about arts-based learning. It's a concept and a form of practice developed by one of our lecturers at ArtEZ, Professor Jerome Lucas, and talk specifically about how arts-based learning has impacted or informed the programs that I lead, but also how I see arts-based learning coming from my perspective as an artist, educator, and a researcher. And I'll start with that because I believe that that is where the genesis of the master's programs, which I lead at ArtEZ, has grown out of. I call myself as an artist, educator, researcher. I worked in the field of conflict transformation for many years. I've worked in different parts of the world, from Bosnia, Herzegovina to South Africa to my home countries of Northern Ireland. And through that time, I've developed methodologies and methods of artistic making, which involve socially engaged practices through visual form, through visual art. I consider myself a painter by trade, and I work a lot with mural painting and street art particularly, and I see that as a form of public pedagogy in actual fact. And that's why I was so attracted to using large format artworks, large format paintings as a tool and a vehicle for my own research and work. In regards to arts-based learning, I want to talk a little bit about how I see that in specifically around this field of conflict transformation. The way to resolve conflicts is very complicated. It's not something which is done in straight lines, and I think a lot of textbooks and various different journals over the years have highlighted that the idea that we can have two companies or two belligerents and we can sit them down and talk to them and eventually end up with some sort of an agreement without having to go on a very complicated journey is really not true at all. And I think that artists engage in similar sort of ways of thinking as they approach an artwork. I think an artist who looks at the problem of making an artwork, be it music, be it theatre, be it a visual piece, or be it sculpture, whatever the case may be, are always faced with this possibility of the unknown. Where am I going to go to? Where do I start my journey? And what is that journey going to be like? What sort of routes am I going to take? And ultimately, they take many routes. And many of these routes can take them into different parts of their minds, different parts of the journeys, different parts of the experiences, and different agendas which start to cross over and inform the production of the artwork itself. And to me, that way of thinking is really intrinsic to being an artist, and it's really intrinsic tool or methodology which needs to be employed, particularly in the field of conflict transformation. You have to be open to the possibility of the unknown, to imagine different futures and different possibilities that could emerge out of the journey and through the process of peace building. And that is exactly the same, as I see it, as making an artwork. Not only making an artwork, encountering an artwork. So we see an artwork on a wall or in a sculpture or in an installation, whatever the case may be, it asks us questions. It asks us to consider, why is it there? What is its purpose? What's it trying to do to us, and how does it speak to us? Does it speak to us, or do we just see something that the artist is just shouting at us, telling us something, as opposed to offering us the possibility to enter into a dialogue with it? The latter is really the most important, and for me the most significant possibility of art, that it offers us a chance to enter into a dialogue. And I think for that to happen, there needs to maintain, even through the process of production of an artwork, where an artist may have an idea and they arrive at a certain point and say, that's it, it's done, it's produced, it can go on a wall, it can sit on the floor. Even from that point, it then has another life. And that life is the offer, the openness, and the opportunity to engage with others. What do you make it me? It shouts at us. What do I tell you? And how do I make you think about this particular issue or agenda? And I think that's the power of art. Now, when we combine the power of art with the power and force of education, we've got something particularly special to consider. So arts-based learning asks us to think about how art can become not just a vehicle for learning, something which actually is embodied in learning. And that means that we have to begin to think like an artist. We have to be able to think openly. And so instead of thinking that education is something which gives us a beginning, a middle, and an end point, normally the end is an assessment, with a graduation or not, as the case may be, But that straight line is similar to that idea that I talked about just a few minutes ago, the straight line of working toward peace. It doesn't exist. And for me, learning does not exist on a straight line. It is multiple forms, overlapping entanglements of experiences, entanglements of information, entanglements of content that the student eventually has to make sense of and process in regards to their own understanding of themselves, number one, but also of the world, number two. So let's imagine that entanglement as what Deleuze and Guattari talk about as arousal. And let's think about that as a way of entering into dialogues with the world and a way of considering our own experiences and presence in the world. And I think that if arts-based learning offers us anything, it offers us the opportunity to think and explore that world, the world of learning in actual fact, through the mind of the artist. And if we embrace that opportunity, inevitably we're going to come out with different answers to what a normal straight line education process may provide for us. And we'll come out with our own answers, and our own answers will be meaningful to us. But then when we produce something and we present it to the world, it is also meaningful to others.